Wonderful students, good morning. Today we're going to talk about 11-4 notes. This will be the last one for the week. There will be a assignment as a Google form for you to finish. And today's topic is homeowners insurance. So similar to renters insurance, which we've talked about, it covers the items in your house as well as the structure itself. So the structure itself, that's a little different than renters insurance because your landlord would have insurance that would cover the property itself if you were renting. Most renters only have insurance for their belongings inside. Homeowners insurance covers your belongings, but also the structure. So we can see the definition for a homeowner's policy: insurance that covers the cost of repairing damage to your home. So what would this damage come from? Well, some of the big ones: theft, there's a break-in. Flood damage is a big one, and a lot of times there's a separate policy for flood damage because some houses are in an area that floods all the time, like if you're kind of down in a valley, in an area that rains a lot. So sometimes that's a separate policy altogether and is not included, but we'll put it in here. Um, Fire is a big one, and natural disaster. So earthquake, tornadoes, hurricanes, things like that. So we're going to use two different charts for the notes today. The first one is your different types of policies that you have. So your house, that covers the house, the unit. Unattached structure, this might be for like a garage that's not connected to the house, or if you have a shed, something like that. Personal property is your belongings inside, like your clothes, your maybe if you have expensive artwork, collectibles that would be worth a lot, jewelry, things like that. That's personal property. Additional living, so this would be, if there's a fire in your house and you need to stay in a hotel for 2 months while it's being rebuilt, the additional living portion of your policy will cover the payment for that. Liability and medical, that would cover any medical costs that you or somebody that was in your house experienced during the event, during the fire or the tornado, whatever it would have been. So most of what you would need to cover is included here. So let's take a look at Clarissa. So she's insured for 80%. Not quite explaining it all, but you probably would understand that joke. So 80% of the replacement value of her home, which is valued at 172,300. What's the most she can recover for the other items covered in her policy if her policy contains the coverage in the table above? Okay. So one thing is that the policy amount is usually not going to be 100% of the value of your home. It's usually not going to pay for everything because you need to pay for part of it. The insurance pays for the rest. So in this case, we're paying for 80%. So the policy amount is going to be 80% times the value of the home, which is 172,300. And that comes out to be 137,840. So if Clarissa's house was completely destroyed, she would not get the full value. She would get $137,000 or $137,840. Unattached structures. Okay, so this is the policy amount. So that's the number that we're going to base all these calculations off of. Okay, because you'll see 10% of policy, 50% of policy, 20% of policy. So the unattached structure is going to be 10% of the policy. So I'm going to do 10% times this number. So 137,840. I know that multiplying by 0.10 is just going to move my decimal over one spot. So it's going to be 13,784. Just took the zero. Okay, personal property. So my materials inside the house, personal property is 50% of the policy. So I'm going to take 50% times that original number, right? That's my policy. So 137,840. And we get 68,000. $920. So it is possible that on a house that's valued $172,000, we could end up getting all these amounts back. So that's over like 200 grand. So is she getting more money than what she lost? Well, no, because this personal property is definitely not included in the value of her home, right? Your stuff inside the house is not going to be reflected when somebody tells you what your house is worth. It's just the building itself. Unattached structures, a lot of times that I would think would be included in the price of your home. So if we add these two numbers up, and compare it to the 172,300 number, we can figure out how much she's going to have to pay out of her pocket, assuming that she wants to replace everything. So excellent, just showed that next answer. But why don't you guys try example two? Example two, you're only going to figure out the policy amount, so there's only one calculation. Go ahead and do that. You can pause, and then I'll show the answer again. Okay, so there's Tom. It was 117,667 and 50 cents. Okay, so these last two are pretty quick. We're just going to look at tables and pick a value. There's no calculating. So let's take a look at this. There's two different tables here. This is kind of the split between them. So here's one table. Here's another table. Brick and masonry. Just think brick, like that's for a brick house. This other one's going to be for a wood house. Wood house is going to be more expensive. It burns more easily. So the insurance is usually going to be more if damage is more likely to occur because the insurance company doesn't want to lose money, right? So Peter has a frame house that is in protection class 7. So there's different ways you can characterize the house, maybe based on the size of it, how many trees are on the property, how many bedrooms there are, all that type of stuff. Where it's geographically located. So this is a frame house. So I'm immediately going to look at this table on the left. I'm sorry. That's not true. Frame is wood frame. Okay, so I'm going to look at this table on the right. Protection class 7 tells me I'm going to be in this column, right? And use the closest value in the table above to find his annual insurance premium. So it's valued at 72,300. Look over here for the closest value. I'm going to say 70,000. Okay, so I'm going to be looking in this row and this column. So that gets me $236. So no calculating, just finding the number. Why don't you find the answer for example 4 for Betty, and she has a brick house that'll be on the left, and then I'll show you that in just a second so you can pause and work on that. Okay, Betty has a brick house, protection class 4. I'll do this one in red, brick, so that's going to be over here, protection class 4. 4 is the 1 to 6. Okay, 4 falls in between 1 and 6. Her house 58,000. I'm going to use 60,000 for my number. Kind of like on the first one, we used 70,000. So I'm going to look in this row. That column, it gets me $183 is the premium. Okay, that's all we got. Please make sure you guys reach out if there's any questions. I don't have office hours, or no, I do have office hours tomorrow. I think at 2:30 maybe, and I think Mr. Najjar does too. So check the document on Classroom for those. You can email us at any time. We'll do our best to get back to you when we can. And don't forget to do your Google form assignment. It'll be 2 to 3 questions that'll be waiting for you. All right, guys. Thanks. Have a great night.